One Home Secretary after another has failed to bring down the number of people arriving illegally in Britain from across the Channel in small boats. Today, the Prime Minister himself put his political reputation on the line over the issue with a new plan. Top of the list, an agreement with Albania to send back illegal arrivals. Mr Sunak told us Britain should focus on giving asylum to the most vulnerable, not the most able to get here.
None today because of the weather, but it's a tragedy that asylum seekers are risking their lives to cross the Channel in their tens of thousands. And it's a scandal that 100,000 of them have waited more than 6 months to learn whether they can stay here at vast cost to taxpayers.
Prime Minister!
It's a blight on the reputation of the government. The new Prime Minister wants to wipe it clean.
People are right to be angry, Mr Speaker, because they see what I see, which is that this simply isn't fair. It is not cruel or unkind to want to break the stranglehold of criminal gangs who trade in human misery and who exploit our system and laws. Enough is enough.
The Prime Minister's five-step plan includes an agreement with the Albanian government to speed up expulsions of Albanian asylum seekers, passing a new law so that any asylum seeker coming to the UK without prior permission can be removed, more resources for both law enforcement and processing, moving migrants from hotels into sites such as disused holiday parks and former student halls.
The last time the government legislated to tackle the broken asylum system, they made it work. They made it work. Mr Speaker, since the Nationality and Borders Act came into force, crossings and delays have increased.
You pointed out there are 100 million displaced people in the world. Lots of them are fleeing desperate persecution and they see the UK as a refuge. You're saying you're going to criminalise them and export them.
Much as we might like to, of course we can't welcome them all here because our generosity may be limitless, our hearts are wide open, but we do have a capacity where we can actually properly integrate people and support them. But what I want to do is focus on exactly those people, the most vulnerable. That's what we should be doing. We shouldn't just be open to people who are able to get here illegally, breaking the rules and jumping the queue. That's not right.
Has the Prime Minister got the balance right between protecting the vulnerable while cracking down on criminals?
We are worried that he hasn't got the balance right, that there's an excessive focus on being punitive, on a draconian response that would mean that if you were an Afghan today taking a dangerous journey to get to the UK because there's no other way for you to reach our shores, you would be deemed an illegal, a criminal, and that the Prime Minister wants to bring forward new laws that would say to that person, you are not welcome in the UK.
A few weeks ago, these pictures of asylum seekers waiting days in intolerable conditions to be processed at Manston shocked the nation. Sunak is pledging never again, for their sake and his political survival.
And Robert is here to talk about all this. So we're supposed to have cleared the asylum backlog by the end of next year. Any realistic chance of that happening in your view?
Well, let's just talk about what that backlog is. He said that, to the House of Commons. We thought he meant 150,000 people who haven't been processed. Turns out Downing Street emailed me tonight and said, actually, he meant those who hadn't been processed by the middle of June last year. That's more than 90,000 cases. Still an awful lot of cases, but considerably less than that 150,000 number. So there's a bit of productivity for you in an email. So how are they going to do it, though? So they're cutting down on paperwork. They're hiring many more caseworkers. They are getting in specialists. They're basically saying they're going to treble the productivity of people who look and make an initial decision on these claims. I think even if they do that, they're going to struggle to meet that target by the end of the next year. But there's another concern, which is those with legitimate concerns will be thrown out because corners are being cut. So let's be clear. We had the Prime Minister saying, we're humanitarians, he's a humanitarian, but this will be tough for some vulnerable people.